The new year. New days, new opportunities, new goals, new things to go for. Dare I even say it? New year, new you? Nah, I'm just kidding. Hey everybody, my name is Ace. I thought I'd start off the new year going over my 2021 budget. Now, I'm currently working in corporate America as a product manager making $75,000 a year. So I'm going to show you what I use to budget, how I budget, what I expense for, and pretty much anything and everything else having to do with it. This budget can be used for anyone and everyone, doesn't matter what type of income or how much you're making. Just leave me a comment down below if you'd like to use this and I'll give you a link for it. Now, let's get into it. Now, I know some people might think or say,
budgets are overrated.
And, well, they might be. As long as you track your inflows and outflows, just track what you're spending on, you don't necessarily need a budget. I personally am a big fan of budgets. I use my budget monthly, update it monthly. Why? Because I like to know where my money's going, how I'm spending it, and if I'm over in any sort of categories. I live a extremely frugal life and I am a super saver. So this really just helps align with who I am and what I want to do. And it helps align me with my goals and where I want to be. Because I know the more I can save, the more I can put towards investment and help grow my money. Starting off, what do I even use to budget? Well, honestly, I use Google Sheets. I don't use Mint. I could use Mint. I know people who do use Mint and that is a great app. But I personally like to keep track of things myself, and I'm a big fan of not having to pay for anything. And I know you don't necessarily have to pay for Mint or any of the other budgeting apps, but I like to avoid those programs that might be asking for payments or give you additional bonuses for those payments. So I just use Google Sheets. Hell, in my work life, every single day I'm in Excel using it constantly, so making a budget and keeping track of it in Google Sheets is pretty simple for me. So you're gonna see here in my Google Sheets, this is my monthly budget. I don't necessarily use the starting balance and the ending balance per se. I don't necessarily update everything on the right hand side for my percent increase to savings or what I've saved this month. Just because I know anything extra that I save, I end up throwing into my investment accounts, whether that be Fidelity or into Robinhood, which is a little bit of my play with money. So when I'm scrolling down into my budget, you're going to see two columns, the left hand side expenses and the right hand side, which is income. Income is pretty basic. I just put in what I get from my paychecks. If you have any other additional income, that could be side hustles you might have, any rental properties that you could possibly have, heck, even if you're cashing out some of your dividends for some passive income, you can put that into the income side. For me personally, I don't keep track of any of that because everything that I make, whether that be dividend reinvesting or rental properties, I put back into my other investments to help them grow. So I'm not spending or using any of that income. So for me, it's just my paychecks. And on the left-hand side is all of my expenses. Anything that I might possibly be spending money on, even if it's investments. Because if it's post-tax and it's coming on my paycheck, I'm gonna consider it as I'm spending money, even though I know I'm making an investment. Because ultimately, in my checking or savings account, I'm gonna have less money because of it. So as you can see, I have my planned amount that I'm gonna spend, my actual amount that I've spent, and the difference, which is what I've ultimately saved. And that connects from my income side. So my total amount of paychecks on my income better be the same or less than what I'm planning on spending in my expenses. So I'm gonna quickly go over all of my different expenses on the left-hand side from the top to the bottom real fast and tell you what it is and how much I expect to be spending. Start with my mortgage. I split my house with my wife. So I put in half the amount, she puts in the other half. So I'm gonna put in $1,400 a month, she's gonna put in another $1,400 a month. And that should cover the mortgage, any extra utilities if necessary, and a little bit for our rainy day fund just in case something breaks in the house and we need to fix it. So this next category, phone, utilities, health, etc., I'm lumping together all of my fixed amount expenses that I'm going to be putting away per month. So for instance, I know I'm spending $48 a month on my phone bill. And I know I'm going to want to put away at least $50 a month for gifts, whether that be birthdays, holidays, special occasions. I'm going to also be putting away another $50 per month for any dental expense that may come up and $100 a month for any health expense that may come up, as well as car repairs, other things like that. I'm putting away a set amount per month for that bucket. Next is my groceries. I plan for about $150 a month for groceries. Yes, my wife and I split our grocery amount and she has a set amount in her budget for groceries, but that's what I'm willing to spend. So for instance, when we go shopping at Costco and we get $200 worth of stuff, I'll put $100 into my grocery section because that's the half amount of her and I. Gas, I plan for about $80 a month driving to and from work. Dogs, Currently have one dog, but we are getting another puppy, so $150 a month planned is for food, and then anything extra will be saved up for when a vet bill has to come. Going out to eat. I love food. I love going out to eat, but I make sure I limit my budget to not be too much because I know the bigger the budget I had, I would absolutely love it. I consider myself a foodie, as everyone else in America who likes to eat does as well. So I make sure I keep my budget limited. $125 a month, that's for me to go out with friends, family, the wife on date nights, whatever that is. And when I hit that 125 or slightly below, I'm done going out to eat for the month. The next two things in there are technically for investments. And as I said previously, I put those in there because I know they're coming out of my paychecks because they're post-tax and not pre-tax, so I gotta account for them. So one of them is funding my Roth IRA. I put $500 a month into my Roth IRA to make sure I max out every single year. And then I have an extra $100 that I put into my Robinhood account just to play with. Some of that might go into my Fidelity if I want to buy some more shares for my dividend stocks or my long-term stocks. It really just depends, but that next amount is for my investment accounts. Next on there is car payment. I currently do not have a car payment, but my wife does have a car payment. So I'm throwing in a little bit extra there to help her out so we can hopefully get that paid off sooner rather than later and we don't have that debt looming over our head. The next two things are entertainment and others. Entertainment, I might consider going to a water park, going to the movies, going bowling, something along those lines where I'm not going out to eat, I'm doing something different that's enjoyable with friends or family. Other might account for anything I have not thought of, which ultimately there are probably tons of things I haven't accounted for, but I put that into the other category. Whether that be buying a video game or new shoes for myself, new clothes, something along those lines, I put into the other category. So in an entire month, I have planned to spend $3,530. And where I make $3,546. So there's a $16 difference there that I could use to invest, spend on something else, whether it may be, I can allocate it as my expenses roll in. So let's see how I plan for my expenses rolling in. On the second tab down at the bottom, I'm gonna go to transactions, and you're gonna see expenses and income. On the right-hand side income, I just put in my paycheck amounts. When I get my paychecks, how much they are. Since I'm paid bi-weekly, they're pretty much the exact same every single time, so I just have that pre-planned in there. On the left, I'm gonna put in expenses. My first expense is gonna be my mortgage. $700, the amount, the date, the amount, the description, mortgage. I'll type that in, and then in the category, I'll make sure I go and I select mortgage. And so on and so forth. My fixed expenses, like I said, that's my phone, utilities, healthcare, car repair, all of that stuff. Flat $700 amount that should roughly cover everything, and put that in there, categorize it as fixed expenses, and so on and so forth. So when I spend something, I make sure I get the receipt and I punch it into here, whether I get home or I just use my Google Pixel and I'll punch it in right then and there to make sure I have accounted for the expense. And that's just going to tie back up on the summary tab. And that's it. Quick, easy, bing, bang, boom. I can track what I'm spending it on and how much I'm spending, and I can put it into my budget to make sure I don't go over. Any extra I have at the end of the month that I don't account for in my budget, I will use most likely for investments. If you liked this video, you learned anything, or you're just ready to have one heck of a good 2021, please just tap that thumbs up button for me. That'd greatly help me out. Subscribe for more content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Leave me a comment down below if you found this budget useful and if it might be something that you might want to use. If so, leave me a comment as I said, and I will give you the link to my budget that I'm using so you can use it yourself. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.